And welcome to the April 11th, 2022 Select Board meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First up would be the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all please join me? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1 is the acceptance and correction of minutes from 3/28/22.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes from 3/28/22, public and non-public with corrections if need be.
I'll second that.
Anybody have any discussion? Questions, answers? No? Seeing Kelly's on the phone, we need to do a roll call vote. We'll start with Kelly.
Yes.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes 5-0-0. We have one announcement. The Department of Public Works announces road work starting Tuesday, April 12th at the intersection of Goffstown Back Road and Catamount Road. Each road will be down to one lane at times, but will remain open to traffic. Significant delays should be expected in the work zone due to the ongoing construction. DPW highly recommends using an alternate route until work is completed. Please contact Goffstown DPW at 603-497-3617 with any concerns or questions. And we thank you for your patience. Just a real quick, Adam, do you have any idea how long?
Likely, it's going to be a couple weeks. Right now, we're targeting hopefully to have that area at the intersection reclaimed and repaved during school vacation week if we can, right? Because it impacts the back road as well.
So we're talking probably a couple weeks, should be clear.
What time?
During the days, probably about 7 to 7:30 in the morning till about 3:30 in the afternoon, if not a little bit later. There will be closures at some point. When the actual drainage crossing goes in, and then when the regrading happens before paving, but for the most part, we'll be able to get traffic through.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Derek, why don't you start on something? The appointment for sewer commission, is Tim need to be here? Oh, he's here.
Yes, yep.
Tim, you want to come up?
Sure.
I didn't see you hide back there. for some reason.
I came in late. I apologize. I was supposed to get this plan to Derek for everyone to be able to look at since there's only one plan. This reference to the parking signage that was discussed for the sewer plant on East Union Street. As you know, we installed the gate, and I think Selectman Adams asked us for some sort of an idea about the parking. Basically, let me get my copy. Basically, we have identified several no parking areas that are, to begin with, where the new gate is, there's going to be a no parking fire department access sign on the gate to allow the fire department access to the waterfront area. And then all along the side with the boulders there, it's going to be no parking until we get into our parking lot, where we're going to stripe some spaces, and we're going to have, where the green arrow is, we're going to allow some parking there. And then the rest of the area in front of the East Union pump station will be no parking anywhere in front of the pump station. And then beginning at the portable toilet location, which is at the gate, all the way up the one side where the green arrow is where the parking will be posted as parking area for the people to park all along that one side. Restrict them to one side of the road only. And then when we get to the radius entering East Union Street, there'll be no parking, so that it's just, people won't park on the radius there, even though they probably will, to try to prevent anybody from having a head-on collision on that corner. It's a very simple plan, and I hope it meets the requirements that you were looking for to identify where the parking is going to be. We're going to put no parking signs on the two gates at the East Union Pump Station as well, where the access gates are to get inside the fence for the pump station. And then the area in front of the building, we're going to hire a striping contractor, and we'll stripe it with yellow or white or something as a no parking area as well. So once again, I apologize for not getting the map to Derek sooner. I've just been crazy.
Busy. Jim, you have any questions?
No, I have none. Appreciate it, Tom, thank you.
Looks good to me.
Okay, guys. And Kelly, I know you're on TV. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Okay, do we need a vote to accept that, Terry?
No, I don't think we need a formal vote
Aye.
to,
I don't see anybody had any questions on it. Kelly, did you get a chance to look at that at all? No?
I'd have to hold up in front of the camera.
No, I can abstain if using the map impacts the decision, because I can't see exactly what you're talking about on Tim's map.
so you want to vote to approve the parking plan as presented and have Kelly abstain?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll abstain.
Okay, so we'll call for a vote to approve the parking plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the parking plan for the East Union Pump Station.
Second.
Motion by Carl, seconded by Jim. Any further questions? Seeing none, Kelly? You're abstaining, Kelly. Kelly?
Abstain?
Yes, abstain.
Okay. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Yes for me.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And I will provide Derek with a copy for the record, so you have it for the
Thank you.
record as to where it was. Thanks, folks.
I'm going to ask Senator D'Alessandro to come up and speak. We've got a few minutes ahead of schedule, so it gives him a couple extra minutes.
We'll give you a few words of wisdom. How's that?
There you go.
First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak. Wish you all a very happy Easter and a very happy Holy Week. As we know, it's that time, and our families get together and we enjoy each other's company, which is very important. I want to congratulate both candidates who won an election. It's a great feeling when you win an election, so congratulations, and I'm sure you'll do great work. It's clear that the Senate District 20 has changed. District 20 will no longer include the town of Goffstown. It'll be Manchester Wards 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, and 12. And Goffstown will be aligned with, I believe, Ward 1 in Manchester, the town of Goffstown, the town of Raymond, and I believe Hooksett, and I'm not sure of the other town that'll be involved in the district. But that'll be the new district. It'll be 16 rather than District 20. So I'll try to keep you informed as to what's going on in the legislature as long as I am your representative in the Senate. We had crossover. All Senate bills are in the House. All House bills are in the Senate. There's a lot of significant legislation. 2 pieces of legislation will be coming up this week. One will be the suspension of the gas tax for 60 days, which is not, we don't have a gas tax. It's called road toll. The Supreme Court made a decision with regard to that years ago. So the road toll decision will come up, and then will be the marijuana decision will come in the next week. So 2 very significant decisions are coming up. These are House bills that have passed and are over in the Senate, and they will be heard before Senate Ways and Means. So clearly a lot of legislation. There's a significant surplus. Hopefully that surplus money will find its way back to the communities. There was one piece of legislation that gets 36 million for bridges, 30 million for roads, $1 million for the cameras for the police, and again you have to go through that process of applying to the Department of Safety. But if that passes the House, it's currently before the House, there'll be another $1 million available for the body cameras, and I think that's a very important situation. As we know, the last shooting that occurred in the town, in one of our communities, I don't represent that community, but there were no body cameras, and the shooting has been declared a homicide, and they'll have to do a significant. It was in Derry. They'll have to do a significant investigation on that. But part of the bill is that body cameras will be on all of the safety vehicles that work on the highway system, There's no cost associated with that because the turnpike system pays for its own cameras, but at least the authority to have the cameras on all the vehicles will be made available. So they've been hitting these vehicles and damaging these vehicles quite frequently on the turnpike, but also on the highways. As you know, our police cruisers, our state trooper cruisers have been damaged, and it's been a very significant problem. We've lost some lives, and very, very, very serious problem. With regard to employment, and I was just talking to some members in the rear here, very hard to find employees. The state of New Hampshire has a 20% vacancy rate. In some situations, the vacancy rate has been as high as 45, 50, 60 days or more. We're down 61 state troopers from our complement. So think of that as it relates to the patrolling of the road system. It's a definite problem, and we're being stretched at New Hampshire Hospital. We don't have enough nurses to cover the admittance, and that's a significant problem. I think many hospitals, nursing homes can't fill all the beds because they can't hire enough nurses and enough staff. That's a real concern with the nursing homes, and of course, we have the Hillsborough County nursing home. So think about that as we move forward. We have a lot of money. I don't think there's any question there's more money than we've ever had. Well, I've been around this business a long time. This is my 50th year in state government. There's more money than I have ever seen. Now, a lot of it's federal money, but we are exceeding expectations in terms of our revenue estimates by $200 to $300 million. There will be an emphasis on the part of the leadership in the House and the leadership of the Senate to send some of that money back. Hopefully it'll go back to the communities. Communities will be able to use it appropriately and for things that they think are significant. And roads and bridges are very important. Our system is falling apart. I don't think there's any question about that. But I want to leave you with a very, very significant issue, and that's the Sununu Center and the number of crimes that were committed by individuals who were managing the Sununu Center. Currently, we have set aside, the House set aside $100 million to deal with the problem. The testimony before the Senate last week indicates that that's not enough money. That $100 million may evolve into $200 million. Where's that money going to come from? It comes from funds not otherwise appropriated. So where does it come from? The surplus that we have, or does it come from the rainy day fund? I don't know. This is a significant, significant issue. And the AG is trying to eliminate trials and come up with a settlement package. And the settlement package will include individuals and egregious offenses. The individual offenses may range into the $100,000 range, up to about $450,000. They're trying to increase that. The very serious issues, $4 to $5 million. Right now, there have been 500 cases filed. They're assuming that there'll be more. In some instances, both the petitioners and the aggrievers have died. And how do you deal with that? Because this happened over a period of time. But it's a very significant issue. And the tragedy is that it happened. I mean, that's the real issue. How did it happen? How did it happen? Why wasn't it dealt with? And what are we going to do going forward? And the second part of that issue will be, what do you do with the kids now? If you close the Sununu Center, which is the deal, what do? Do you create another state entity with maybe 12 to 14 beds? Because there are those who claim that that's not the way to treat kids. The way to treat kids is to put them into individual housing and so forth. So all of these things are pressing. And we got a great town here. You got all kinds of building going on. I've driven around the town. You got all kinds of construction going on, and the town is growing. And with growth, you have growth in pluses and minuses, and those are going to have to be dealt with. And in two areas, fire and police become very significant as far as the management of growth is concerned. So, quickly, that's it from my perspective. I'll try to get to you one more time before it's over. We will recess on the 26th of May. That'll be the last day. Filing for re-election comes in June. And of course, the primaries in September and the general election is in November. So that's kind of it. I've had the pleasure of representing Goffstown for 24 years. It's been a great experience. I think we have good things, very good things in the town. You have a very fine education system. You've got to watch out for that because in the next fiscal year there are going to be changes in education, and be leery of that as people who are overseers of the financial situation of the town. You got budget committee, you got the school board and so forth, but all should be very concerned about that. And the suit has been filed. The suit will go to court. And my opinion is our standing is I think it's questionable. So that'll be a big deal. It'll be a very big deal because we know there's building aid involved, but there's the big thing is the education aid that comes to the community. So, you know, with that, I'll try to answer any questions that you might have. I'll be available anytime my office is available. You have my office number and my home number too, if there are any real concerns that develop. But I think we're in a great situation as we speak. It's the future that concerns me. I had end with this. I had a talk with the realtors today. The average sale price of a single-family home in New Hampshire is $420,000. $420,000 to buy your first home. When I bought my first home, I bought it for $17,500. $17,500. The difference between $17,500 and $420,000 is fairly significant. And most sales are being consummated at 20% above the asking price. So think of that and your evaluation of property and what that means to the town. But with that, I'll try to address any questions. Was that good, Collis? Was that good?
Fine.
Judge Anthony, you know, it's like I get paid by the minute. That's why I'm only making $100 a year.
Anybody got any questions for the senator?
I would just say thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Hopefully your journey continues on a good path, and we look forward to seeing you whenever and wherever.
We'll get to see you one more time, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Just one question, is the redistricting all finished now, is it?
It's done for the Senate, yeah. It's done for the Senate and it's done for the House. What's still, I think, up in the air, obviously, is the congressional district. Governor said he would veto that, and I think he's going to let the executive council districts
But
pass
the states.
Yeah, right. It's amazing to me what's going on in the redistricting.
I was going to say, the senator was a teacher at Bishop Bradley High School when I was a student there. Here we are, 112 years later.
Thanks. I'll tell you this, I had a meeting today with former Senator Kelly Ayotte. I had her father in class at Bishop Bradley High School. Can you believe it?
Wow, small world.
Small world. She had a great career as Attorney General in the United States Senator. Had her father in class. Okay.
Thank you for your service to Goffstown.
Oh, you're welcome.
And
Thank
your
you.
wife.
Yeah, my-
She always follows you around.
But there's no game without the wife, I can tell you that.
Putnam's is right over there.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we kind of passed over public comment, but we said, we kind of called Lou's public comment. Anybody else here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. We finished up with Tim. We'll go to town administrator report.
Okay, if you turn to tab 5A, you have your meeting scheduled for the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. the Sewer Commission will be in this room. On Thursday at 7 p.m. Planning Board.
Yes.
Next week on Tuesday, the Budget Committee is meeting at the high school media center at 7 p.m.
I'll be there.
Thank you. Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., the library trustees will be meeting.
I'll be at that one too.
And at 7 p.m., Parks and Rec Commission will be meeting at the Parks and Rec
I
Center.
may need somebody to cover that. I might be having that operation that Carlos had that day, so
If you can let Catherine know,
I will.
or myself, and we'll track somebody down for you. Your next page, you have your consent agenda. You have employee status reports. You have 2 firefighter acting as lieutenants to promotion to lieutenants. You have 1 firefighter acting as lieutenant. This is an end of temporary assignment. You have 3 firefighters that have earned their AEMT merit incentive. You have a resignation of 1 full-time firefighter, the resignation of 1 part-time firefighter EMT, resignation of 2 part-time firefighter 2 AEMT, and the resignation of 1 part-time paramedic. You have a police department out-of-state overnight travel request, 1 employee for the Mountain View 8th grade trip to Washington DC in April, and then New Hampshire Special Olympics in June. And then 3 employees for CALIA Accreditation Conference and Awards Ceremony in July. You have the 2022 MS 232. This is the report of appropriations voted at town meeting that needs a signature of the entire board. You have rights to inter West Lawn Cemetery, section 1998, lot 241A. You have a construction services agreement for the trench drain replacement at Station 19. That needs the signature of the chair. You have a sympathy card. You have a deposit voucher for the Grassmere Town Hall Restoration Fund. This is for a $10 facility use fee that goes to that fund. You have the Village Bridge Ad Hoc Charter that was adopted at your last meeting that needs a signature of the entire board. You have event permits for the Goffstown Historical Society Old Home Day on May 7th from 9 to 3 in the village. You have Millennium Running New Boston Half Marathon on May 22nd from 8 to 1. And then you have the Goffstown Rotary Club Car Show from on June 4th from 9 to 2. And then there was 1 item we did add this evening. This is a letter to release motor vehicle reports for accidents involving Town of Goffstown vehicles to our insurance provider, Primex. DMV will no longer release those to Primex unless they have a letter on file from the select board.
Motion to approve the consensus agenda as presented this evening.
Second. I have 2 questions. Village Ad Hoc Committee. If somebody drops out of the committee, do they come to the board? Who nominates? Would the board nominate and then come to the select board?
Yes, the board is the appointing authority for all ad hoc committees.
Okay. That's not in that, so I just, in the document.
Okay.
So I just.
It's in your rules of procedure.
But I
Okay.
just want to make sure it's clear
It's clear.
that they don't appoint that. It comes back to the select board. Appoint that.
Okay. Yep, we can put that in all future ad hoc charters.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I just have another question on something different.
Go ahead.
Derek, on the $10 facility use fee for Grassmere Town Hall,
Yes.
was that established by ordinance? I mean, $10, what?
So that's part of your fee schedule.
Is it in there?
Yes, it is, for facility rental of the meeting room that's on the right side on the
Yeah.
bottom floor.
Oh, okay, downstairs.
It's the downstairs.
Yeah.
The upstairs is
Separate.
is separate. It
Yeah.
has a different fee.
Okay, thank you, that clarifies it.
One more question. Parsons Drive, that field, is that town property?
Yes, that is controlled by the cemetery
Right, it's the
trustees,
cemetery
and they did
trustees.
give permission for the Rotary Club car show, which they do every year.
Right. Okay, the motion on the floor. Kelly, you have any questions?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor, I think it was made by Mark and seconded by Jim. It's a roll call. Kelly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself say yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes. 5-0-0.
Your next page, you have volunteer appointments. The Historic District Commission met at the end of March and recommend the Select Board reappoint member Michael Priscaza for a full term ending March 31st, 2025. And then the Goffstown Economic Development Council met last week. They made a recommendation to reappoint member Bonnie Guyven and Jonathan Napoli as full members, both with terms ending March 31st, 2025. And then they made a separate recommendation to appoint Chet Bowen as a full member with a term expiring March 31st, 2023.
Okay, that's a little confusing, because he's
He is, there
taking
was,
somebody else's term.
there was a member, there was a full member that resigned, and that would be to finish out the 3-year term.
Yeah, so it's a 2020 to 2023 term,
Yes,
and Chet's just gonna fill it out.
yes.
Correct.
So you want to handle these individually, Peter? That's the way they're listed.
Yeah, I would do it.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to reappoint Michael Prescaza as a full member to the Historic District Commission and Heritage Commission with a term expiring March 31st, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Collins, seconded by Mark. Any questions? Seeing none. Kelly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself, say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 500. Go ahead, Collins. Or somebody else want to do it?
Motion to reappoint Bonnie Gavin and Jonathan Napoli as full members to the Economic Development Council with terms expiring March 31st, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Collins. Any discussion? Hearing none. Kelly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself, say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 500.
I'll make a motion to appoint Chet Bowen as a full member to the Economic Development Council with a term expiring March 31st, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Collins, seconded by Jim. Any discussion? Seeing none. Kelly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself, say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And
Thank you. At tab 5D, you have a memo from the Finance Office. This is for a quarterly budget transfer request for those employees that are able to provide health insurance from a spouse or another source. And we're seeking for a budget transfer from the health insurance line to the various wage lines in the amount of $42,453.31.
No questions, I'll make the motion to approve the budget transfers request for the reallocation of $42,453.31 from insurance benefits to the various wage lines as presented.
I'll second that.
motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. Any questions? Seeing none. Kelly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself, say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
500.
Thank you. And at tab 5E, you have a memo for recommendation for bid award for the network infrastructure refresh. This is our core switching and our end user switching throughout town. The town received 6 bids. You'll see on page 3 the different bids. IT is recommending an award to WorldCom Exchange of Salem, New Hampshire in the amount of $162,629.17.
Does it concern us that some of these bids are just so far off from each other?
No, Systems Engineering was proposing the use of Meraki switches is what we currently have. So they were not going to be providing as much actual help during the install because you'd be copying over most of the setup from what we currently have. About a year ago, we switched our firewall to better match up with what the state uses, so we'd have less shutdowns in the town clerk and at police department, and we switched over to what's called FortiGate. So the recommendation is the Fortinet switches, which was proposed by SHI and WEI. The two, you see one's at $162,000 and one's at $163,000 and change. And then the Omada and Nivid technologies are significantly more expensive switches, and they're just a different product that they're proposing for the solution.
you know, it goes from 100,000 to 244,000, you wonder what the stuff, but I understand now, it's different hardware, right?
Yeah, it's different hardware, and again, with the system engineerings, they were not proposing as much assistance setting it up, since that's what we're already using, but IT would prefer to move to a product that would better interact with the firewall that we already have in place.
And how's their service rating?
They will meet our needs. They're actually better than what we have. We currently have cloud-based switches, so anytime a switch needs to be reconfigured, if the internet is down, they can't do that. They'd had to physically go in and pull users out, whereas this would be locally controlled, so even if the internet went out, we'd still be able to control it locally.
Anybody else have any questions?
I do. What was the budgeted amount for the project?
I'm going off the top of my head, I think it was 262,000 was the total CIP budget. This is going to come in below that budget. However, once it's installed, we will be coming forward with some additional costs for network security testing to make sure that by another party, and there's also a chance that we may need to carry our Meraki licensing a little bit longer, depending on the availability of hardware. If the hardware is not going to be able to be in and installed for as long as we need, we might need to carry that licensing that we have for current switches a little bit longer.
How's the
Okay,
licensing?
thank you.
How's the licensing numbers with the new system compared to the old system, dollar-wise?
I'll ask Brian Ray to come up and speak to that specific question.
The Fortinet licensing is a lot different than the Meraki. Meraki licensing goes, you have to purchase the licensing for the hardware to run the hardware. It's all cloud-based, you're paying that licensing continually. With this new Fortinet project, after the 5 years for the support that we asked for, we can continue running the switches without a problem. Meraki doesn't let us do that. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards that, so we can make them last a little longer, figure out where we do need to carry that support and where we don't need to carry it.
And in the meantime, what's the support dollars for the 5 years? Is it all included in it?
It's included.
Okay. Anybody else? Motion?
Motion to go with WorldCom Exchange, Inc., WEI, out of Salem, New Hampshire, for a grand total of $162,629.17.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the roll call. Kelly?
Yes,
Mark?
Yes, sir.
Myself, say yes.
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 500. Okay, Kelly's, we all set to go to Kelly's.
Yes.
Kelly's looking for some input from the select board on a policy review working group. I wasn't intending on going into detail tonight on it. I think we need to determine, do we need the group and the makeup of the group, and Kelly wants to head the group. She's part of her, in her wheelhouse, so we'd like to get started on it. Kelly, do you want to speak to it?
sure. Or can you guys hear me okay, or should I have Derek do it?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. So basically, we were just looking for, a thumbs up if we should put together a formal proposal for a policy work group, and that would potentially include department heads and non-union employee representatives to work through some of the policies that we really need to update, and then bring them forward to the select board for approval. So it would kind of be a group effort, and just having me facilitate that process and then bringing them to the board to approve. The goal would be to have them approved by September so that we could get our annual policy sign-off for employees in place and moving forward, hopefully electronically by that point.
Thank you.
So really what I'm asking for is if we think that that's something that we can move forward with, writing up a proposal for the groundwork, if it's necessary, needed, and just some general discussion on what your thoughts are.
Now, did you have a number of people you want to have on this board? As far as a count? 5, 10?
The thought was one representative from each department, so that would not include the library board of trustees, whether it's the department heads themselves or a designated person for them within the leadership, and then one employee, non-union employee representative.
So it'd be a total of 10, and then the meetings would be facilitated by Vice Chair Boyer.
Anybody got any questions?
I'm just wondering, if I may,
Go ahead, Jim.
is the intent to fix something in particular, or is just a general review of the policies? I'm just wondering what the impetus is for this.
There is a handful of things that we need to update and add to our policies. We have done some work as a board. I'm not quite sure what was done last year, but the year prior. And it's just things that kind of need a consistent update in addition. So we just wanted to make sure we got input from the people who those policies would be impacting. So nothing major, but just really a transparent group effort to get this stuff up and updated so that we can continuously have appropriate policies and employee sign-offs on the changes.
Okay, thank you.
Does this need formal action, or is this, I'm just looking for our concurrence that, yeah, it's a good idea, let's start the process and get the ball rolling?
That's what I kind of thought it
That's
was.
what I thought.
I think the idea, if I can speak on Vice Chairman Boyer's behalf, was to get buy-in that it was a good idea from the select board so that we can get together as department heads and work with her to facilitate this. That way, when we do bring any suggestions back to the board after the summer, that you're not surprised by it, and that you know at least what was going on. Ultimately, any policy changes would be retained with you, but again, it's to look at those personnel plans and some of the other plans that impact our employees. Right now, we don't really have an employee handbook or anything where we have all these gathered, and in some instances there are there's some policies that kind of interact with each other and might have a little bit of a disagreement, and then some of them have become outdated.
I understand, but, the only problem is when you have the foxes watching the hen house kind of thing, and you gotta be kind of careful to have an outside view of it too, and I think before anything, formal report comes, should come to us first, and then, we can all work on it together, once that outline's been done. I mean, you want me to do an outline of my job for my boss, that's no problem,
So, Peter, if
Go
I
ahead.
could just have a little bit, I would support this. I mean, we've seen issues crop up sporadically here and there relative to some of these issues. And I think it's a good idea to revisit these.
Oh, yeah.
And take a look at it. And you're right. I mean, maybe before anything formal is done, it's going to have to come back to this board for final approval. So I would support moving forward.
Mark?
Is there any time? Let me ask Kelly.
Yeah, there is, it says right there by
Oh, it's
September.
September, is it?
It says right by September.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
I'm in favor of it, but I still think this won't solve all our needs. We're still gonna be faced with things that we're gonna have to either work with, make changes to, or figure out what's going on. I like Kelly's idea, but, I mean, I don't think it's the be-all, end-all solution to everything we've got here.
I think when you've got union and non-union people
Yeah.
working together, you're never gonna have
That's
every
right,
little
exactly.
thing covered, so.
I didn't wanna say that.
That's our job, no, that's our job to make those those
Yeah.
changes on the
Yep.
fly if we
Yep.
have to,
Yep.
or,
Yep.
which we've done on a
Yep.
regular
Yep.
basis,
Yep.
so. So I think the consensus is we go ahead. Is that the consensus of the
Yep.
board?
Yeah.
Jim?
Okay.
So what my, go ahead, Derek, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so what I'll plan to do within the next 2 weeks is write something up more formal about what the process will be. But it's a work group, but just to give some guidelines for the select board. And then if we need to reinitiate this in the future, we can bring that to our next meeting and try to get something on the books to let you all know when the first
Okay,
meeting will be. But
I think by the next meeting, if you bring that in, I think the other board members, the rest of us will have maybe have some input on things that we think need to be looked at. How's that?
Yeah,
great.
Is that okay?
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Is that okay with you, Kelly?
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay. Okay, next thing is HR file review update.
Dirk, do you want to give them just some insight into that one?
Yes, please.
Danielle, come on up. Oh, Danielle's involved in a lot of this. It'd be nice to have her input on it. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead, Kelly. Tell us where you're at on this.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I thought Danielle was going to speak to that. My apologies. So this was in compliance with the Department of Labor standards, just looking at a personnel file in compliance and working with Primex to facilitate a training for department heads on the different kinds of licensing requirements and things like that we need. I know there had been some communication with Primex about what they could provide to our executive administrators and department heads in regards to this kind of compliance, but it's something that they were potentially offering. Danielle, did we get any update on that?
I don't have a date yet proposed by Primex, but Primex is willing to do a training on just what's required to be in the various personnel files. And we have part of the files stored here at Town Hall and part of the files stored within the departments. So the idea was to just make sure everybody has that background training on what is required to be in the files to ensure that we meet all of those requirements.
Has this been done in the past?
It has not.
And how do we stand, do you feel? Is this necessary?
I think it is, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
to
fine.
get us up to speed, yes.
Now, is there a cost to this from Primex?
No, the training is included with our membership.
So I don't really see, we should be doing it anyway. I mean,
No,
if it's for free, it's for me, right? Right? So I would say you're already working on getting it handled?
I'm working with Primex, I'm communicating with them to figure out exactly, when they could do a training, what kind of dates there would be, and what it would include as an agenda. And then we'd be communicating with departments to schedule if the board's in support of that.
Okay, now are we going to designate somebody in each department or to control this or to do this job?
Well, ultimately, I think all the department heads' job descriptions actually put the onus on them to be in control of those employees. But we also understand that there are other personnel at those departments that contribute to that, so we'll reach out to them and let them, I guess, designate those people that are assisting with those employee files. But ultimately, it would be the department heads that are ultimately responsible for compliance.
Okay.
I'm just a little
Jim?
confused. This working group for the first thing that we talked about for personnel, they're not going to have anything to do with the second, the two other things. This is just...
Correct.
Correct,
That's
yeah.
just one, there's going to be one group and the rest is going to be done internally by the...
Right, because of the confidentiality involved
Right,
in the
okay.
personnel files, it can only be certain people.
So you already have a handle on the audit review. That was already in the works. Great.
Okay.
Great, good.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was just to work on risk mitigation and the thought of being able to provide some sort of solid resource to help the department heads work on that. But again, just wanting input to see if the select board's on board. So that sounds
Well, sounds like
Like we are.
Danielle
Okay.
and Derek got that one under control. Let's move on to department head evaluations, performance evaluations. We tried this, we've gone back and forth on this. We have a form, am I correct?
We do have a format. I think what Vice Chair Boyer was looking for was, at this point, just set a date on the calendar for completion of this. Just in this year, set a date and then to discuss a format at a future meeting on if we're going to use the existing form and the feedback, the self-evaluation that's been used in the past, or if you want to change that up at all.
Okay, I think, it seems like July 1st is always the date that we always shoot at. I would say if we came up with something by the end of May and got it to the department heads, sometime 2 weeks in June, second meeting in June, we could get a look at it. Would that be a good timeline, Derek?
Yeah,
Is that
we
too
can-
fast?
It is fast, but yeah, if that's what
Well,
you,
we
if that's
need
what
to
you're
get it
saying.
done, you
Yep,
know, I mean, it hasn't been done, so we get it done?
yep.
Good.
So what we'll do is I'll,
Yeah, that sounds great. My only concern was getting it done before budget season kicked in, so that sounds good.
That's why I said July. 'Cause you'll be busy.
Yep.
right,
All right?
yeah.
Let's move on to, anything else, Kelly? I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Thank you, especially for me not being there. I appreciate
Okay.
you all letting us move forward.
Did we have a meeting with the county?
The police chief and I have been actively working with them, so.
Out of service still. Service.
Same police car as the last time, I thought we had.
It was, there were some additional issues that came up while it was out on warranty work that they are
Gotcha.
correcting.
Yep.
Bobcat still on the warranty. Work there. Really not much different. Is there anything else, Derek?
The only other item you and I had emailed about one of the House bills that
Yes.
has crossed over
House Bill
to.
1417.
Yes.
Have any of you guys heard about it or looked into it?
What's the,
That,
subject?
the subject is there's a bill that, actually it's not a bill, it's the Hampshire Municipal Association is going to testify on a bill that would require the state to participate in the retirement funds.
So
That's a quick
yeah,
view.
yeah, so historically, the state of New Hampshire had paid 35% of, towards retirement for police, firefighters, and teachers. There was a bill that made it through the House to reinstate 7.5% of retirement for, again, for Group 1 teachers and Group 2 members, which is all your firefighters and police officers. So that would have a statewide, that have an impact in fiscal year 2024 of about $28 million to municipalities, and then the following year about 28.5. Danielle did some quick estimates on and communicated this to NHMA. The second half of 2023, we estimate it would be about $69,000 on the town side. When you add in the teachers, talking to the business administrator at the SAU, Scott Gross, theirs would be about $146,000. So just a 6-month estimate would be about $205,000 that would basically reduce our costs if the state were paying for that. So the a full year amount would be about $410,000 in tax relief at the local level. This, again, went through many committees on the House side, and it passed narrowly. It is now on the Senate side, and they have a hearing on Wednesday. NHMA has asked for those communities that want to provide a letter of support. The time to do that would be now before it goes to that hearing on Wednesday. So didn't know if the board had any interest in providing a letter of support on behalf of the town for this particular bill, or just continue monitoring.
This has been an ongoing battle for how long? I mean, years. But I think we still need to get on the bandwagon.
I think it doesn't hurt anything to.
Yeah, doesn't hurt anything. I would think we would authorize the town administrator to draft a letter, and also, if there's some way to get it to Senator D'Alessandro by then,
Yeah, I can focus on that and get that to his office tomorrow.
Yep.
As well as there is a way to submit that letter from the town to the committee that's holding the hearing on Wednesday.
So did you say 410,000 in local tax relief?
Again, these are estimates,
Yeah.
yep, but yes, a full year impact would be approximately 410,000 on the town and school side combined.
So it seems like a no-brainer, why would we not support
Yeah,
this? Am I
exactly.
missing something that's working?
That's
in
what I'm
practice?
saying, I don't know, but
Nothing to
it's
figure,
just that,
nothing to figure out about
if
that
it
one.
comes a letter from the board,
Well, that's
it
fine.
has to have our approval.
Oh, I understand that, but
I'm
I'm
just
just
saying. So Carl's made a motion to authorize the town administrator to, he did make that motion, right? Submit a letter.
Yes, we should.
It was eloquent, he made it.
In support of House Bill 1470.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mark. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, your roll call. Kelly?
Aye.
Kelly?
Yes.
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 5-0. Is there anything else?
I do not have anything else.
Seeing nothing else, make a motion, Mark?
Make a motion to go into non-public session, RSA 91A, colon 3, comma, 2A compensation and B hiring. Anything else?
Could you add C, adversely affect reputation as well, please?
Adversely affect reputation, C.
Second that.
Okay, motion by Mark, seconded by Jim. It's a roll call. Kelly?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
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 That'll conclude our public portion of the April 11th, 22 Select Board meeting. Have a good evening.